I hear what you guys are saying. You've got a 5-inch racer, winter's coming, there might be some rain outside, but there also might be some good weather. You want a super versatile drone, so you want something you can take out, rip around, have a good time outside, and maybe fly around some close proximity like a playground, but at the same time you can still bring it inside for when it's raining, you can rip something around. Well, stay tuned because this is exactly going to fit your needs. G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today we're going to be checking out the SPC Maker 110, whatever it is. I'll link it down below. I'm not a fan of the name, but I am a massive fan of this one because I understand a lot of people out there, you've already got your 5-inch racers, you want something a little bit more versatile. This might be the drone that you can take everywhere, fly anywhere. So whether it be outdoors and you want to rip around, fly around maybe somewhere some close proximity like a playground, or bring it indoors and rip around your house, this might be the drone for you. It is top notch, but it's also pretty expensive as well when we look at the price. So what we're going to be doing in this video, we're going to be sticking it on the bench, breaking it down, having a quick squiz at all its components and why I'm so excited about this drone, what makes it so versatile and why it might be perfect for some of you guys out there who want a chance to fly one drone all the time. Whether it be raining or sunny, you still want to get your FPV fix. And as a bit of a bonus, I've got 2 of these bad boys, so I'm going to be sending one of them off to my Patreon supporters because I couldn't do what I do on the channel without their support. So I'm eternally grateful for everything they do for the channel, because without them, UAVfutures wouldn't be the same and we wouldn't be able to put out all this content thanks to their support. Anyway, enough rambling, let's stick this bad boy on the bench and I'm going to show you guys why I'm so excited. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so here it is on the bench, and usually, look, I sort of stay away from just showing you the box and the little extras and those sorts of things, but I think in this case, I'm going to make an exception because we actually get some pretty cool stuff here. So you do get a pretty useful little case. It's nicely packed in here, but what I want to talk about, this thing has all the bells and whistles. So not only does the drone look amazing, you also get some things that are very, very useful, but you'd want to too, because it's pretty expensive. Now look, if this one is too expensive for you, I'll drop a link down below because I'm not sure of the exact price, but I think it's like the $250 or something like that. So it is definitely up there, one of the premium, I guess, little micro drones. There's some other ones. I'll leave a playlist up here of every single micro drone I've ever reviewed, so definitely go and check that out. But let's jump in and have a quick squiz at some of the extras before we get into the drone itself. So look, you get 2 sets of props, so we'll throw those to the side. One nice thing, you get 2 batteries with it, so you get 2 500 milliamp 3S batteries. It's great that this thing takes 3S. They're only 30C, but look, that's probably not too much of a big deal because I don't think these motors are really going to be drawing more than that. But it's great, not only do you get 1 battery, but awesome that you get a spare, but you'd sort of want to for the price that you're paying. You get some little nice Velcro attachments for attaching your battery, some little Velcro straps, which is also useful. These are just your sort of screws that, if I can get them out, your screws that we're going to attach our props to. But one part I sort of did like, not only you get some zip ties, but I thought, gee, this is a great idea, and this shows me that this company knows what they're talking about. You actually get one of these little adapters, so it's great. If you've got some larger XT60 batteries, you can still hook them up with this little adapter. I really think that's a smart little idea and a great inclusion that shows these guys know exactly what they're talking about, because you might have some batteries at home that you don't want to have to cut the end off or anything like that. This saves you the hassle. So it's a nice little touch, but it's what I'd expect on one of these premium prices. Anyway, let's jump in and have a bit of a look at the drone itself. Alrighty, so as a bit of an overview, just looking at this thing, you can tell that it looks not only premium, but also pretty different to a lot of the stuff that's out there. Yes, we've got some in the past that have some big rings around them, all those sorts of prop protection and stuff. This thing, it feels totally different. The quality of this thing straight off the bat feels amazing. So it's 110 millimeters from motor to motor, and I'd really say this one's designed to rip around anywhere because you've got some serious performance in here, but you've also got some very robust prop guards, and because it rocks 3S means it's going to have, like, I mean, a heap of power, but because we've got these nice springy guards, which we'll talk about a lot, you're going to be able to fly this drone anywhere. I really think this is going to be one of the most versatile drones. If you just want something you can take out, fly around, whether it be outdoors and you want to rip around a park or something like that, maybe you've got somewhere smaller like a little playground or somewhere with a little bit of proximity, or even indoors if you just want to take it easily around a warehouse, I think this drone's got all those bases covered. It's not going to have some crazy speed, but I still think on a 3S it's going to have more than enough poke to sort of keep you satisfied. It's probably really going to complement those people as well when they've got a 5-inch racer. So, you know, you've already built your 5-inch racer, you don't want another one of those. You want a drone that you can literally fly every day no matter what's going down. So that to the side, let's jump in, let's stick it on the scales, take your bets. How much do you think this bad boy is going to weigh? We'll turn my scales off here, wait till they hit 0, there we go. Putting it on here. The drone itself is coming in at 97 grams. So look, that's pretty heavy, I guess, but you actually have some solid components on here, especially when you're rocking around with a 3S battery. We'll throw some props on here. Oh, there we go. I wonder if we'll break 100, 99, 101 grams. Oh, there we go. So with that, 100 grams with the props. If you want to include the battery, I bet you that jumps it up a bit. You've got 145 grams there. So look, if you're worried about the 250 gram limit or anything like that, this might be a pretty decent option. But it's also not the lightest micro because, you know, that's sort of getting up there, but there's a fair bit of extra stuff on here and it does feel pretty robust. Now with that overview out of the way, what I want to do, let's jump in and have a look at the actual components themselves and why this thing is a premium racer and does it deserve that price tag? Because yeah, like I mentioned, it's pricey, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the amount of cool stuff we've got inside. Alrighty, so we're going to start at the outside in, sort of work our way, have a look at the props and motors and everything, but the first thing I want to talk about, look, we've got a carbon frame, it's 2 millimeters thick, it looks like it's flexy, but that's actually the plastic on the outside. If you're trying to flex the actual frame, it's actually pretty stiff. I think it's going to be more than enough for a little micro like this anyway. One big feature you're going to notice straight off the bat are these rings around the outside. Now they are ducted, so that's going to help a little bit with the lift, you know, but one important thing, sometimes in the past these rings snap very easy, but I want you to check this out. These ones, they've actually got quite a lot of give in them while still being extremely stiff, so I have to press that a fair bit, but it's amazing just how much that plastic can move. So if you're worried about snapping these, which traditionally in the past, I think these prop protectors break all the time, but whatever this plastic is, it feels very, very robust while still having a lot of give. So if you're dropping out and hitting the cement and those sorts of things, I think you're going to be absolutely fine. And if worse comes to worse and you happen to do break one, not only, I guess you could glue it back together, but you could pull them off. If they were totally useless and all snapped and broken, you could just take these things off. So if you're never going to be flying it around indoors, you know, there is the option you don't have to fly with them. I'm going to be keeping them on there because I don't think it's going to hinder it too much, and I love that it's going to allow me to fly it around inside. Now, like I mentioned, it is 110 millimeters from motor to motor, that one solid base plate. You've got two little side plates, which we're going to take off in a minute, and then inside that, enclosed in there, that's where all that good stuff is, and you've got some really high quality kit in here. Now the props that's spinning on the outside, they're just some 4-blade, I think they're 20-35 little 4-blade props. They're going to simply pop on there. You are going to screw them down, but I must say they're a pretty tight fit as well, so I don't think they're going to be coming off anytime soon. Underneath that we have some real stars of the show, so these are some little sunny sky motors, and they're 1106, so that stator in there is actually a little bit higher than what we're used to on their micro drone, so that's going to add a little bit of weight, but it means it's going to have a ton more power, and it should be able to handle 3S a lot better. And they're also 8000 kV, so that combined with our 3S battery, these little props, I'm going to predict this thing is going to absolutely rip. And look, this is going to sound weird talking about the motors like this, but they feel really high quality. And I've felt a lot of motors, that sounds so strange, but look, I've had a lot of motors in my hands, and you sort of can tell what the quality is a little bit like. You can tell if they're going to be dodgy. These ones are shaping up, they feel nice and sort of coggy is a good way to sort of put it for such little motors. I think this thing is going to have a lot of power. Now with the motors out of the way, what I want to do, I'm going to take the top off so we can talk about all the goods, because it really is crammed in the middle right here. So let's, all you've got to do is simply undo 4 screws right here, 2 at the back and 2 at the front, and then you can simply slide off this little sort of top canopy. Alright, you know what, scratch that. Look, I have loosened it, but is it an absolute mission? I'm going to have to undo quite a bit actually to sort of get in there. So getting inside and doing some work on here is going to be a little bit difficult because everything is absolutely crammed in. I've loosened it, but if I want to take it off, I've got to sort of take it apart a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flash some pictures on the screen, but let's get into it, I guess. In the middle right here, we've got a 4-in-1 BOHELIS 28 amp ESC, and that's absolutely crazy. You know, this thing, I don't think it was going to be pulling 28 amps, but, you know, on your 3S battery, you should be fine, but something that's really cool about this, it can actually take a 4S LiPo. So this thing is going to be crazy on 4S. I wonder if it's going to be as stable, because I do predict on 3S it's going to fly beautiful. It might need a bit of a tune or something on 4S, but very, very cool, and I can understand why they've put a 28 amp BOHELIS ESC in the middle right there, because if you're rocking 4S, this thing, you know, it might actually pull some juice. Now on top of that, it's a very clean stack. We've just got our F4 board with a built-in OSD, and we're going to talk about the OSD in a little bit as well, so that's great. It's got the Betaflight OSD, and then on top of that, we've got our little 40 channel of VTX, and then we've also got, in this one, there's a whole bunch of different receiver options. I'll link them all down below, but I've got the FreeSky option right here, so it should just bind up straight to our Tyrannus. Now, something that's pretty special in the front, everything in here is pretty premium, you know, a 28 amp ESC, we've got a Betaflight OSD board in the middle, F4 board, great motors, takes a 4S, and I'd expect no less than the FPV camera on the front to be high quality as well. So on the front here, we've got one of the little RunCam Micro Swift 2s. They're RunCam in my opinion. Look, they make some of the best FPV cameras out there, so the FPV quality should be fantastic. But one point I do want to note out, these are such a good FPV camera. They come with a built-in OSD, and the OSD inside this thing as well, it's got like everything turned on, so you're sort of getting some double overlaps of some OSDs. So if you are going to get one of these, you're going to have to tinker around a little bit. Look, it's not going to take too much, just plug it in. You are going to have to turn off some of the features on the OSD straight off the bat, because as it comes, it seems to have like every function turned on, and when I'm flying around FPV, all I want is like a timer and my battery voltage. That is it. Now, one little other notable part, this thing, it looks extremely robust, so when you're going to be coming down in crashes and things like that, it doesn't have a big omnidirectional, it just has a tiny little dipole out the back. No worries whatsoever, there's no way you're going to be breaking your camera. So everything in here, it looks like it's designed to take a beating, and I really like all the components in here. Everything seems like it's top level. Now the design of this bad boy, I think there's been like not a resurgence, but a real growth area has been these little micro brushless FPV race drones. You know, it started for me with the Lizard and the AR Fun. This thing, it seems to be the same sort of design. They've just stuck some prop guards on the outside, but these prop guards, they do seem like high quality. So I really like the fact that not only is this thing going to rip around, but I do think it's going to take a beating, and they're not going to break quite as much as some of the other, I guess, the cheaper printed plastic ones or anything like that. I really think because they've got so much flex, but they're still so strong, these things are going to do very, very well. I like the fact that it's small, and it's also being designed to take a 4S battery, you know, 2, 3, or 4S batteries. This thing, it seems very, very versatile, and I think that's exactly what this drone is going after. Fly anywhere, no matter what. So I'm a big fan of the design. In terms of the quality, this is where I'm going to give this thing a 10 out of 10. Not only are the components absolutely amazing, so everything in here looks like it's super high quality, some of the best stuff you can get, you know, like look at the FPV camera, the F4 board, a 28 amp ESC, we've got higher stator motors, so everything in here, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for quality, and the build quality as well is fantastic. So everything in here, the solder joints are all nice and shiny, even little things too, like the quality of these antennas out the back, well out of the way for props, the way they've been heat shrunk down. This is kind of like a drone you'd build yourself. Someone's put a lot of love into it. Even here's another little example, like some heat shrink over the back of the XT30, so this is a high quality machine. But like always, look, no craft is perfect, and that's what I love about our hobby. Things are improving all the time. Now this, look, I really think the quality of this thing is amazing, but it'd want to be because it's expensive. So the pros, you know, like I've been mentioning, amazing components, great design. I really like what the functionality of this drone, you know, fly anywhere, super versatile, great drone. But the cons, let's talk about the cons. I guess the number one, it's the price. So like for the $250, whatever it is, I think, you know, I'll drop some links down below. I'm not sure what the price will be at the time of this video, whether we go up or down. I'll see if I can find some discount codes or get them to put it on special or something like that. But, you know, it's a price. You're paying a lot of money for this drone, and I can see where that money's going, but at the same time, it's pretty expensive when you've got some of the other cheaper options out there. So things like the Armor 67 and all that sort of stuff, go and check that playlist because there's some much cheaper options in there, but I don't think this is what this market's going after. This is just after a premium little indoor drone. So a big con is the price, absolutely. Now another one for me, finally, I think they're offering some pretty good camera protection. You're going to be unlucky to break that, but it is so close to sort of being perfect. If only we had a little bar that jumped across out the front just a little bit more and one just a little bit higher, it would be fantastic. You know, I always ramble on about camera protection. This one's getting close, but sometimes, you know, you'd have to be very unlucky to break this one, but I would just like that a little bit more. Maybe it's just me complaining. And then the only other thing that sort of bugs me with this one, and it's not really a biggie because it's very easily fixed, all you have to do, we're going to have to turn off some of the features in the OSD because at the moment it is absolutely crazy how much stuff is turned on inside there, so you're going to have to plug it in, jump over to Betaflight and turn all that sort of stuff off, which look might not upset some people. Some people, if you're brand new to the hobby, it might take a little bit to get used to, but if you know what you're doing on Betaflight, it's like a 2-second job. And then the final con, I guess, it's going to be a little bit difficult to work on. Everything is so crammed in here, so if something goes wrong, it's not going to be an easy field repair. You're probably going to have to take it apart meticulously. You don't have too much room to work with, so trying to repair this thing is going to be a little bit more difficult than some of the other quads we're used to having a little bit more room. But that sort of goes with micros anyway. So with all that said and done, look, I'm a pretty massive fan. I can't wait to take this thing out, and I want to show you guys some footage of, you know, it outside, flying around, also doing some close proximity stuff, and then also some indoor stuff, because that's where I think this biggest strength is, the quality and also how versatile it is. So definitely stay tuned for that because this thing does a lot of things right. Alrighty, so there it is. There's my part 1 review of the SPC Maker 110, whatever it is. I'll link it down below, and overall, I'm really blown away at the quality of this thing, everything you get in there. I can't wait to rip it around and have such a versatile drone can fly outdoors as well as indoors, and especially the prop guards, like, they really are robust. So if you're stuck somewhere where you're not sure what the weather's going to be like, or maybe you've got a 5-inch drone and you just want to experience some little different things, whether that be close proximity or indoors, definitely check this bad boy out. But I don't think it's for everyone as well, because look, it is pretty pricey, and there are some other cheaper options out there. Like I mentioned, go and check out that playlist. It should be linked down below anyway. But if you're after a premium drone with some great products, that's well built, that's very versatile, I definitely think this is one of the best steps in the right direction. Definitely very, very exciting stuff. So definitely stay tuned for part 2, because that's when we'll take it out. I'll fly it around in a bunch of different places. We'll also hand it over to Grumpy Trev, see just what he thinks. We'll also fly it around indoors and Grumpy Trev's, I guess, underground FPV racetracks, so definitely stay tuned for that. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Drop some comments down below. What would you like to see improved on this bad boy, or is it pretty close to perfection? Massive shout out again to my Patreon supporters, because I couldn't do the channel without their support, and as always, happy flying! Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos, and I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAV Futures family, there's things like bonus velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying!